happy Wednesday afternoon. It is almost 80 degrees. That's right, 80 something degrees in Urbana today. It's crazy. I just can't get over the whiplash of weather that we've had. I think tomorrow it's supposed to be down to 50, and then today I'm wearing summer clothes and sweating. It's so weird. Anyway, the leaves finally started falling. They haven't really turned colors, but they're falling, so I can finally get my yard cleaned up to get my Christmas stuff out. I don't put it out before Thanksgiving very often, actually ever, but this year maybe. So today, though, my nails look bad, I know, but I've been in the middle of making gingerbread people at my dad's house, and I don't want to do my nails because I know I'm going to mess them up with sandpaper and paint and stuff. So today I want to use the Nativity Scene set, but before I do that, I got my gnome special in the mail, and I thought, okay, I want to show this to you. I am in love with the colors. I'm in love with the colors. I'm not a gnome person, so I didn't order the gnome thin cut or the gnome set, but I have other gnome sets I can use. I did get this winter set, which I absolutely love. I have a plan to make some real cute little gifts with this. I will try to share. The acrylic shapes, the little snowflakes, oh my gosh, they're awesome. There's several different shapes and sizes, and they are that real thin acrylic that you can use on your pages, and they add dimension without adding crazy dimension. And you could put them on cards and mail them, which is amazing, right? So I love this. I'll definitely be using this. But the paper is what I really wanted to show you. So I was kind of looking at the samples that Close to My Heart had. Kelly Fitzgerald put those together, and she shared those files online, so you can download them online, and they're awesome. But she did use a lot of the gnome stuff, which I'm not into. So, but the winter memories, I mean, there's not that much specifically gnome. There is a tag right there, but he's pretty cute. I could use him. And so I think the gnomes in here, those are the two. That's it. So if you don't like gnomes, there's 2 stickers on the whole sheet that you wouldn't use. Other than that, everything is winter themed, which I love. And look at the hot cocoa here. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. And I thought about using this, you know, there's Chris Kindle Mart that we go to every year, and we always take all these pictures, but I never scrapbook them because they're not, I don't know, they're not cohesive enough to pull together. But this year I'm going to intentionally take pictures to use this paper with because I love it. So I want to show you this all over print of winter words. You know, burr, hats and scarves, by the fire, below zero, cold, baby, it's cold outside, that kind of thing. Snow angel. And then on the back is this cool stripe. The colors are espresso, jade. There's no peach on here, but peach is in this pack. Periwinkle is the blue color. Pine is the darker green. Mist is this grayish color right here. Sapphire is the blue, and then of course white. So there's a lot of colors in this pack that will coordinate, which is amazing. I love the zip strip of the little trees. We'll totally use that. The next paper is an all over kind of distress sky snowflake scene. It's absolutely gorgeous. Look at that zip strip, totally usable. And the back is a plaid, which of course we all know I love plaid. So there's the 4 colors so far. This is the like hero print. This is the all over winter icons, teapots and bunnies and snowshoes and mittens and hats and sleds and snowflakes, trees, and the zip strip is snow. So you can see this is the only, on the other side of the hero print is the only place where you really see the gnomes, but totally usable. If you love gnomes, this is adorable. I love the little snowmen. I will use this. Even though gnomes are not my thing, they're not the highlight of this paper. You can make it the highlight or you can make it not the highlight. It is totally up to you. And that little thin cut of the skating gnome, it looks just like this guy right here. It is totally adorable. I just didn't think I would use it over and over again, so I did not buy it. But if you're into gnomes, I would snatch that one up. Isn't it cute? This paper, the colors of this paper, wow, 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 wow. I'm already looking at this for a lot of my Christmas cards and winter cards this year. So you may be seeing me use this paper. And you will have some papers coming up, or some, wintry themed snowflakes and wintry themed stamp sets that would go great with this. So, just think about it. Okay, so I just love it. I ordered more. I know, like I needed more, but I already ordered 2 packs of paper. I ordered another 2. I will use that for a very long time. So let's get on to today. I really love this little nativity scene. And when I'm looking at it, I fell in love. It's one of the first things I purchased. I love that I got it with thin cuts. The thin cuts are what makes it. This is one you want the thin cuts for, because it cuts this little city out. And so I cut it out in toffee, and you can see that in toffee. It looks like, sand or sand dunes, or, in the background. You could cut this out in shadow colors and make it like part of the background of your page. In the catalog, they show it layered on a scrapbook page, getting darker and darker, like it's farther and farther away, like layered, in different colors. So you could totally do multiple layers stacked like this, and it would just look really cool. So I don't know why I cut so many. I think it was because I was cutting, and while I was cutting, I'm like, I'm just gonna do this. And then this last one, I just left it like this because I thought it would be a great stencil, and I thought I might use that today, just to see how it works. I haven't even tried it, but whatever. Anyway, so here's my criticism of the set. There's only 2 little things that it's like, wait, what about? One thing is, okay, we have Joseph, Mary, and the baby. Boom. We have 2 men that are like wise men. 2? Where's the 3rd? So you have to make 2 of one of them to make the 3rd wise man. And you just color them different colors or whatever. I'm sure that's fine, but I would have liked to have seen a 3rd guy. And then the other issue to me is it is hard to put them on a page or something. You may notice in the catalog, let me just grab it. It'll be easier if I can find mine. I don't know where I put my catalog. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Okay. In the catalog, there's, triangle trees coming in soon. Just letting you know. Okay. in the catalog, so on their page that they show, there's a couple of things. Okay, like here, they show it in the toffee brown, and then they made a taller piece and shadowed it so it's like double stacked, but there's space in between. The thing that bothers me about this is all the people are in a straight line. And see, they made the three kings out of all three of the same image. And I'm like, okay, and then they have the shepherd, like where I made him Joseph, he's the shepherd. So they just, I don't know. I just, like, the people confuse me just a little. And then in the card, again, all in a straight line. And then there's a couple of they just use two levels. And one is the darker, like the actual color of mist, and then the lighter side of mist, which is cool. But I was thinking what would really be cool is, it needs a manger. It needs like the actual manger. And so I thought I might mess with that a little bit today. So thank goodness for fast forward, right? Anyway, so I have a couple of ideas. The first one is going to be a faster one. What I did was I cut out people. I made this, I guess that's the shepherd, but I made him Joseph, okay? Mary and Joseph. And then I did the three kings like this. I cut out the star and gold glitter, and I was just gonna glue that to that. I guess I can do that so it'll be dry by the time I'm messing with it. Come on, I was just using this glue this morning, and I think I left it on my counter open. Sometimes it has to be cleaned out a little bit. All right. So yeah, my ideas with this are that I want badly to combine it with some of my other sets. I like this set a lot, but it makes me want to combine it to some, other things. So the other thing is these, I did a little, like a little fussy cutting on these to make the outer edge a little more narrow. It made me think, gosh, honestly, I kind of wish I didn't need the die cuts, because I found that I want to fussy cut these a certain way, and not have such a big border, right? Okay, enough of my griping. I'm going to show you what I did. So one of my favorite cards, as you know, this is a 4 by 11 inch card. It might be 4 1/4, but basically it's lengthwise. So you cut it, you fold it in half, and then you fold it back onto itself, and that makes like a Z fold, right? So, and then I make this card so often that I don't measure anything anymore. And then I have a strip that to me is the color of sand. And I thought that's what I'll put my people on. So I'll keep it, the color of sand. And I feel like it needs to be not so straight though. So I'm just gonna cut, I don't know, some wiggly line here like this. So it's not quite so straight across. And obviously I put a lot of thought into that. Not. Okay, so for this one, again, I'm gonna fold it in half. And then on one side it gets folded back onto itself. And I'm just gonna keep just as long as you keep the straight edge lined up you're gonna be fine. And then this will glue onto here like this, and it will open like this, right? So there's my thought for, I used Harbor paper and then toffee to make this sand, right? And then I was like, okay, so this is sort of the front of the card. I can put, you know, Mary and Joseph, and I know now that I've seen him as a shepherd, it's hard for me to see him any other way. Mary, Joseph, and the baby here, and I can put my message at the top. Now, my thought is, I love this Joy to the World, and my thought is to stamp it and emboss it in gold. And I didn't get my embossing stuff out. I'm like, should I do that? Should I go ahead? It doesn't take me very long to emboss. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. At the end, I may do that, okay? I may do that. And then on the inside, once it's open, boom, you know, I have a lot of real estate to decorate. And so I love the idea of having the three wise men kind of show even when the card is, closed, and then when it opens up, I can have the little critters here too. And maybe cut another shepherd, I don't know, with the star. See, I could put the message here and put the star over here, but I think I'll put the star up here. So this is my thought. That's kind of where I'm going with this. And it's a Z fold. I think it'll look great. I kind of like the idea of making the sky look more of a sky. And so what I did was I got out my scratch paper here, and I'm gonna get out my Distress ink. This is chipped sapphire with the little sponge. Get my little people out of the way. And I just want to add some ink so that it's a little darker, especially around the top, right? This will be the front of my card, and that is where I would stamp that image. So you wouldn't have to do this because it almost matches, right? It's a close match to the cardstock, so you wouldn't have to do that. I am gonna add a little bit of black. This is black soot, just kind of to the edges. It'll make it look more like it's nighttime. And I don't want gobs and gobs of time put in this because I am going to make several of these, but I just thought, you know, I need something to make this a little more dimensional looking. Okay. All right. And then I really want to use the city, right? And I want to use the shadow of the city in the background. And I think I'm gonna use the black soot for that, because I really want it to show up behind the people. I'm gonna flip this upside down so that I can manage it a little better. So I'm gonna put it just like this. We'll see how that looks. Oh yeah, see, look, upside down, but that looks so cool. Okay, that's the look I'm going for. All right, now I'm gonna just continue on using that like a stencil. like that. And when I get down here to the end, I just don't want a harsh line. So I want to make sure that I finish that in a cool way. Wow. Okay. Wow. That added a lot. I love how that looks. That is super cool. Okay, now I got my mustard seed out. Now, a lot of people have this problem. My mustard seed pad has looked like this almost from the day I bought it. They said it's something related to the formulation of that ink, and I believe it is a mess. And I bought a different one thinking that I bought a different stamp pad thinking it would be better, and no, it was not better. All right, I'm just gonna put a little yellow up in the corner, and I'm just gonna let it dry. In the meantime, I have cut so many of these doodads, and I definitely want to use this on here. So I'm just gonna put that line of glue on there, and I'm gonna glue that down just like that. Now, I want it to fold really nicely, and I don't really want, I'm gonna put a dab of glue behind that tree so it doesn't get stuck. It may not stick to my wet ink, we'll see. Hold that down for just a sec. There, perfect, all right. I am going to go ahead and cut my little city right there so that I'm not trying to fold this so much, and but I do want it in all the places, right? So I'm gonna glue that, a dot on the tree, just like that. And then, is this enough for the front? No. See, it's good that I cut so many, because now I can grab another one. Let me grab one. Sorry, they're all sticking together. It's like these little trees want to, you know, grab each other. They kind of stick out a little bit. All right, so what part do I want to show behind them? It won't show very much because I'll have people in front of it. All right, let's try that. So I'll put that behind them. And it will like continue the scene, right? All right, so there's my scene in the background. You can see the shadow, like the city continues on. The whole thing will close. Oh, that would have been cool. I could have made that match up. Oh, well, too late now. That would have been slick, but it's okay. It'll be covered anyway. Then I have my weird sand piece that, you know, I kind of made wavery looking. And so when you put adhesive on these, you fold it up and you only put adhesive here and here. And I'm gonna go ahead and use my liquid glue just so you can see where I put the glue, like that, okay? And then I'm gonna hold it down and glue it on, and I'm just gonna hold it for a minute. And while I'm holding this, I might go ahead and glue my little star, since I'm messing around anyway. I'm putting that on where I put that mustard seed yellow so that, you know, it kind of looks like there's brightness around it. I like that. Wow, this is shaping up. This is cool. Now it's all a matter of how am I going to get those people on there so that they aren't just all in a row. It's tricky because I've been playing around with this a little bit and I'm like, dang. It is a little harder than you think because you want to just put them all in a row. Sorry, I got a hair on there. Okay. Okay, so here's my overall card, and I have, let's start with the front. If I do Mary and Joseph and baby. See, I don't want them like in a row. I kind of want them more like this. Okay, yeah, like that. All right, so the main thing on the front, you can put adhesive on the whole image, no problem. But when you are putting anything on these loose parts, make sure you don't put adhesive on the top. Like if you're putting a person here, don't stick adhesive onto his head because it'll stick it to the back and your card won't open. So just something to think about. Okay. So there's them. And then I think I'm going to put a little foam tape on him, just enough to, I want him to pop up, but I don't want it super thick. I want to be able to mail this, right? So that is really cute. Oh, I love it. Okay, now we have our 3 wise men that will probably show, you know, that it's going to be hard. Whatever you put on this angle is going to show. Anything here is going to show. The only thing that will be hidden in the card is if it's back here. And so if they're going to show, I think I need to make them kind of stand up like this. And then that'll be my, that's how it'll look on my card. It's tricky doing this style of card, but that's my thought anyway, is to do it this way. And I want it so they're not buried in sand from on the front, right? But I don't want to cover up my whole city either. The city is the coolest part. So put that there. And I watercolored these using my inks, and that is why they are kind of, you know, like warped shaped, but they flatten back out when you glue them down. So I'm happy with that. Now the little critters, the little animals, I cut out a donkey and a couple of sheep. You could cut out as many as you want. We could put them, you know, here on the front, you know, like that. That's really cute. Or, well, hi, Sally. Hi, Heather. Or we could put them, you know, here on the inside. That's an idea too. The main thing is you want it so that when the card is closed, it doesn't look crazy. And I kind of like the idea of leaving a lot of this for messages and writing. And so I'm going to go ahead and put the little sheep and stuff on the front. It may look a little much, but we're gonna do that. Now I'm gonna put this little donkey on here sitting, but I don't want to do any glue on his ears because he's gonna stick up. So you don't want to glue him to the back of your card. And then I think, again, I don't want these guys all in a row. It's very hard. I'm lifting him up. I'm gonna put two of them together, and then I'm gonna redo my donkey a little bit. There, they're overlapping just a little. Okay, push all that down, let all that dry. And then my message will be here. I have several messages, that's why I haven't put this on, but I love the joy to the world, especially if I emboss it in gold. Yeah, so this card is your standard Z-fold card. It is, 4 1/4 by 11, and you basically just fold it in half and then fold it back on itself. Yes, I showed all of that if you back me up a bit. And so basically that is this card more or less done. Now, one of the things I wanted to do is I also wanted to show you that you could use your black marker and kind of go around the edges of your people a little bit, so that the outline of where you cut isn't quite so obvious in the night sky. Now on my next card, I'll show you how to do that before we glue them on. It is easier before you glue it on, but I am going to do this just a little bit just so it's not so obvious. This is nitpicky. I got to tell you, I don't have a single relative who is going to look at this and go, oh my gosh, she left that white border around the images. It's just not going to happen. But I just, I think that'll help. The other thing that's kind of fun is to use a shimmer brush. So I have a toffee shimmer brush, and it's brown, and it makes great sand. So, you can like speckle it on, like dot it on, and it adds a little shimmer, but it also makes it look more like sand. And so that's kind of cool. I don't want to make them look like Pigpen from Charlie Brown, where it's all poofed up around them or whatever, but it is kind of a neat trick to have a little bit of dimension down here, like it's not all even ground, and it adds just a little, something to make it look like they're actually standing on something, right? And I like to leave, I'm sketchy with this stuff, just like, sand would not be all even either, okay? So I'm leaving a little area for message and writing. That's cool. And then I also have a gold shimmer brush, which is, it's more sheer, and you can, make rays. And when it is on top of that, all right, Moose, stop. When it's on top of that yellow, it just kind of, it looks really cool. I don't know if you can even see it. There, you can see it. There you go. So there's card number 1. And the other thing you can do, if you feel like, you just want to play around a little more, you could add a little gold shimmer to the king's crowns, like this. any kind of shimmer that you add, the card just is like, yay. I mean, it looks so good. So it is really a cool effect. That's gold. And then the sand was toffee. So isn't that fun? Okay, I'll show you. I'll put a message on there. I'll put a still shot of the final thing. The other thing I just noticed is I didn't ever color his mustache. Why? I don't know. So when I did these images, I just did a whole sheet and I fussy cut them. And one of the reasons I fussy cut these is because I wanted to be able to cut them out super close to the image, because you'll notice that when you do a dark sky, you don't want this big white border showing around. All right, so now I have just a white piece of paper. It has been a very long time since I have inked anything. So I got out my distress inks again, and I decided I'm just gonna get inky today. So I have chipped sapphire. That's this color. Mine, I always stick my thing on top of it. That's why it looks the way it does. And I'm just going to start blending color to make a sky. This is very similar to what I just did with Harbor paper, but I wanted you to see that you don't have to have every color of paper. If you don't have every color paper, maybe you have ink pads that are dark. It does help to use distress just for the speed, but you can use, I have used my ink pad, my dye ink pads for this just fine. Okay, so I want it kind of all over like this. All right, and then I like the sky to look like night. So here is black soot. And I'm gonna go around the edges, right? Because I want it to look, this is the same thing I did with my, sorry, I'm shaking my table like crazy. My camera's probably jiggling back and forth. This is the same kind of thing that I did with my, like when I did the outer space kind of thing. Now I'm gonna get my chipped sapphire back again and just kind of blend that a little better so it's not just a black line around it. Okay, all right, I like how that looks, right? Okay, so I'm gonna get out my my outline stencil. Now this, so what happens when you cut this die cut is you get your actual image, which, that you cut out, right? And then you also get the part that you are going to throw away, which is this part. And I just took this part off and kept it so that I could use it like a stencil. All right, so we're gonna make, I'm gonna turn this upside down again because it's just easier for me. We're gonna make a city in the background. So I'm gonna get out my black oxide again, and we're just gonna brush onto here. Okay, now what happens is you get like that shadow effect of the city in the background. And because the back of it is lighter, it looks like there's light there. Ah, isn't that cool? That's a very cool effect. And so love it. Love how that looks. This is why you have, if you buy this set, you have to have the die cut. You can't, this is just not, I suppose you could find something on Cricut similar, but I don't know. I've never seen anything. Okay, so I have toffee, and I have light, and I have dark. And I'm going to use the dark side of toffee, which is the actual color of toffee, okay? And I'm just gonna glue, actually, maybe I can just put this on. I'm just gonna put a thing across it. Sometimes when this ink is really wet, you almost have to heat set it so that things, let me get rid of that so you can see. Sometimes you have to heat set it just a little. All right, now I don't want it to be matchy-matchy with the back. I want to move it around, and I like being able to see the building with the circle open. For some reason, I really like that. Okay, so, and then I'm just gonna trim that excess off. Okay. And then I'm gonna use the lighter side, and I feel like I need a strip of toffee back here too. Hold on a minute. Just so it's, I don't know, covered. I should have probably made the die cut, you can make it so that it won't, like it won't cut your bottom, you know what I mean? Like so you can do it on a wider piece of paper and just have the top showing. I just didn't do that for some reason. I don't know. All right, and then I'm going to have this go up. Now for this one, I want it popped up. So I'm gonna use some foam tape on the back. And let me just grab just a sec. I'm using my trimmer. I think I just want to cover the bottom of this with toffee. Nobody is gonna see what I'm doing, but I just feel like it needs to be covered at the bottom. There. Then I won't be futzing around with the white paper showing through or anything. There. Okay, and then I have my foam tape, and I'm just gonna put my fingers there so I know where it's at. And I just wanna, I'm gonna move it around there. Wow, that looks really cool. I'm gonna cut those trees off because they're a little flimsy for being on the edge of the card. That is spectacular. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Now, here's the thing that I went ahead and I cut out. This one I thought I'll just do the manger scene. And apparently I cut out the shepherd. It was supposed to be, I should have cut out the other one that was Joseph. So I was going to put Mary and Joseph and the baby, and then the star like I did before. And the animals. And that was all. And I'm like, now it looks fine, right? It looks fine. But for some reason, I want an actual, like, I don't know, manger, okay? I want a manger. So I decided to try it. I have no idea whether this will work. But let me see if I can, I cut some strips of paper. I'm going to cut some more. Just a second here. What I want is to cut some 1/4 inch strips. You guys are probably like, what are you doing? But, and then I have one that's like 3/8. Okay. So I thought I could just have two walls a couple of inches tall, like that, right? And then I might put, some black behind there would be really cool. And then this would be like a peak. I'm going to cut a couple of those. I'm going to have to, you know, make those look like wood anyway. A little long. Like that. I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna work. I can't decide if this is working. Okay, hold on a minute. I'm just gonna trim this. And then let me grab my black scraps. You're gonna think I'm crazy, I'm sure. Okay. But I don't want to ruin my card or anything, but I'm like, I need to do something. I need to do something to try this out. We'll see how it works. So I'm going to put black right here. I'll trim the back off. Now I have another, I have a couple of other manger sets that have a actual manger as a, you know, like a die cut or whatever. Okay, get out my glue. I'm gonna put this here. And, oh, you know what? That was gonna be my roof. Just a second. I'll put this one here. I do like it with a little bit of contrast, so put that one there. Do some on this one. Inking these up. Oh my gosh. You're probably like, I have better things to do. All right, so there's my handmade manger. You're gonna be, what? All right, I think it'll look okay. I want that angle in there. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put some on there. I have some on here. Yeah, I inked it already. Good. Make it a little shorter. All right. So when you do stuff like this, what you need is that point in the center so that when you put the other one on it, the point will be centered. It's pretty close. There, good, like that. I still need a little piece of black. Why didn't I make it bigger? I don't know. This is me messing around with trying to finesse a card I hadn't thought through very well. But all right, that is gonna work. Let me just cut that angle a little better. Oh yeah, that's gonna work. Okay. Now see, you would not have to do this. You would stick your people on, you would be done. I am weird about trying to do all of this. I need to color that one. And Joseph. I'm gonna make him a little taller. Make her a little shorter. And then the baby, again, popped. Ooh. My gosh, it's taken me an hour to make these cards. That's crazy. You guys are like, okay, enough. All right, I love this and I love this. So these little fellas are going on here. Now tell me you wouldn't want me to send you this card for Christmas. It's cool, right? It's so cool. I love it. Okay, I need to color my star. I'll show you how I colored my stars. Oh, and it looks like I need to trim my edges here. There. All right, so I am using the gold yellow blend, and I like to start with the light color and kind of go through the whole thing, and just a real light coat to put alcohol down. And then I like to use the darker one. I'm just gonna highlight a part of each spoke of the star. I don't know what you want to call that. Ray. And then in the center is where it's darkest, and I'm just gonna tap some color on there like that. And now I'm gonna go back with the light color and blend it all together. And then it looks gold and shaded at the same time. Okay, get my image back here. We are going to put some glue on. We're gluing onto glitter. Liquid glue or a sticky, like a foam tape is the best adhesive I have found for sticking onto that. Now we have a few things we could do. I obviously left room for a message if I want to, or I could use, you know, I could use like my white gel pen to make a few dots in the sky, like stars. I may do that. And even if I was going to put a message there, it's kind of nice to have it look more like a sky, right? So I'm just drawing some stars in my way. And you could It does help it look more like a sky. And then I'm going to use my black lip pen. Now you guys are going to be like, what? I'm just going to take this and draw a little bit onto that wood. I am obviously not too careful about how I do things, and it serves well when you're doing stuff like this. You don't want too much thought into it, or it will look like you drew lines, you know what I mean? You want it to look kind of sketchy. All right, so there's my manger. You would never know that I had so much fussing around to make that, would you? But I did, and I think that's glued down, but I have that part sticking out. All right, there's that. And I think it's pretty much done. Now, the only other thing to me it needs is, like, these guys look like they are just floating in midair. So I am going to give them some sand look using the toffee. I just want it to look like, you know, sand. I love it. And then, of course, the gold, we already have the gold around the star, but you could add some more shimmer. The other thing is I really like I love to use the shimmer brushes for various things, you know, just something here and there or whatever. But I feel like this city needs a little something. And so I could take a little toffee ink or something and brush it on there just to give it a little more definition. But I love how the city looks in the background. I think that's adorable. Okay, so I'm done. I'm calling that done, okay? I love it. Love it. Love it. That's amazing. And I need to put it on a card front, obviously. And then look at this. And then we have this card that we made as a Z fold. And I just have to add my message and it's all done. Isn't it great? I just love it. I feel like now I want to tackle a scrapbook page. I cut out enough, you know, people to be able to do another thing, but we have a you know, a live nativity we go to every year that one of the churches here in town does, and it is so cool, and it would be really neat to take pictures of that and use that on a scrapbook page. I just love it. I hope you do too. And thanks for watching and sticking with me. It's like, I know I keep saying I'm going to make these shorter, but it never seems to happen. I'm always at an hour before I'm done. And so, I've still got some crafting to do this afternoon before my evening gets crazy. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Bye-bye.